So I actually have, I'm gonna kill you, Poppy. Hey guys, I'm Abby Sharp. Welcome to Abby's Kitchen, and this is our brand new series, Things Worth the Splurge. So today we're going to talk about my top 5 things that are worth the splurge in those first few months postpartum for mom. So my first thing is a night nanny or a postpartum doula. Now I know this sounds like a total luxury, and it is. Again, this is worth the splurge, but sometimes your sanity is worth saving for, because those first few days after you get home from the hospital, especially if you've had a really rough labor and delivery, are so exhausting. To have a little bit of night support can mean the difference between, a really difficult long recovery and actually getting back on your feet fast. So basically what a night nanny or a night nurse does is they are responsible for helping with feeding and burping and diapering and some baby laundry and washing bottles or pumps, as well as some breastfeeding support all throughout the night. And if you're breastfeeding, you're still going to need to get up several times in the night to actually do the breastfeeding and the pumping or whatever you might be doing. However, it's going to save you a lot of time because you're not going to have to do the whole routine before and after and trying to get baby back to sleep or change him and burp him. So that's going to get you back into bed much faster so that you can actually recover and, get to the next day in one piece. Now, the role of the postpartum doula differs in that they actually are more focused on taking care of mom, so that you, of course, as the mom, can do a better job taking care of baby, because you're going to be a little bit more well rested and a little bit more supported. So whichever one you kind of feel like is going to be more helpful to you, more daytime or more nighttime support, more focused on the baby, more focused on you as the mom, both of these services are an absolute lifesaver, especially in those first few days. So if you have some friends and family who are asking you, what can I get you postpartum? Definitely ask to chip into the night nanny or the postpartum doula fund, because I think you're going to find that a lot more effective and a lot more useful than just like a bunch of onesies and receiving blankets. So number 2 is pelvic floor physiotherapy. So even if you have a C-section, a lot changes when it comes to the lady flower after giving birth. Let me tell you, for the first few days after I gave birth, I literally had to hold my crotch every single time I would stand up so that I wouldn't pee myself. I mean, I still can't really jump, or when I go downhill, I've got to be really careful that I don't have a full bladder, or else, things are gonna be coming out. So pelvic floor therapy is really, really important because it helps you learn proper kegels. It helps you find the ways to sit or stand to prevent incontinence. It can also help diagnose and repair prolapse or diastasis recti, which is the separation of the abdominal muscles. And a session is basically like vagina pilates, which is kind of uncomfortable, especially if you're a little bit sore down there. But honestly, it is essential in my books for long-term relief. So definitely check that out. Get yourself a few sessions or ask a friend or family to contribute to that as a nice gift. All right, number 3, the epi-no. We need like that sound effect with like the rays of sun coming out of this, because this literally saved my vagina. All right, so I'm gonna show you what this is. I actually recommend that you guys get this before you give birth, but definitely has some serious benefits after birth as well. So basically, and I promise I washed this thoroughly before we shot this today. It is like a balloon, and you just tighten this for a second, and you pump up this balloon, and you insert it into your vagina, and then you pump this up just into the opening of your vagina, and you try to get as big as you can. Every single night. You just hold it in there for as long as you can, 15 minutes or so, and then you pull it out, and then you measure it on this template here, and you can see, how many centimeters you got that night. It's a little game you can play with yourself before you give birth. And I did this every single night since about 34 weeks. And by the end, believe it or not, well, I don't know if I'm gonna get that far right now, but I was able to get it past 10 centimeters. I don't know what that says about me, but let me tell you what it says about me. I gave birth, I did not tear at all, and I did not need a single stitch. which my OB told me is very, very rare for first-time moms. So I felt very proud. So yeah, this is probably about, nope, that's not even 10 centimeters. So I still got bigger than this because a baby's head is, you know, pretty big, has to get out of you. And then after you give birth, you can use this as biofeedback to improve those kegels that your pelvic floor physiotherapist gave you, because you can measure the pressure that you're exerting on the balloon, and that kind of, you can measure this on the pressure gauge here. So yes, it's $200, but I would say my vagina is worth that, and you know, my partner would probably agree with me on that. And for all you ladies out there who are looking at this and thinking, hey, maybe I can DIY that, I don't recommend you going to the craft supply store and picking up a regular latex balloon and going to town with it. Get the professional version. It is worth the money. Number 4, a lactation consultant. So before I gave birth, I was trying to be really proactive, and I asked on my mommy support groups for some names of great lactation consultants, and I made like a whole list. And by the time I got home from the hospital, I was already so exhausted and sore and frustrated with this whole breastfeeding struggle that I was going through that I just went down the list and called them all, and I hired the first one that picked up, literally. I just was so desperate. I needed them to come over that very moment. And I'm so glad that I did. Honestly, even if I wasn't struggling with breastfeeding from the beginning, I think it was a really good idea to get someone in to just evaluate the situation, because you want to make sure that you're not having a bad latch. Because once you get into a bad latch groove, you know, it's like a vicious cycle where your breastfeeding becomes a lot more painful. You'll have a lot more anxiety around breastfeeding. You don't want to do it, you know, and that just kind of goes on and goes on and goes on. And it's best to just nip it in the bud from the get-go. So a lactation consultant can help with latching issues, low supply problems, painful nursing. They can also help diagnose a lip and tongue tie, both of which my son had. So I'm really happy that I had someone look at that ASAP and we had it dealt with immediately, or else, you know, I could still be really struggling with breastfeeding. So that's something that I'm really, really grateful for that I had in the bag from the get-go. And finally, a double electric breast pump. So this might not be essential for all moms, depending on, you know, if they just don't want to breastfeed or if they want to exclusively breastfeed. However, I do think it's good to be prepared for when life throws you lemons. Case in point, my story. So I was not able to breastfeed because my kid had a lip and a tongue tie and it was pretty severe, so he would not latch. And I was so grateful that I had a breast pump at home waiting for me to help to boost my supply. Otherwise, I could have missed out on a really important opportunity to get my milk flowing and get things moving along. I remember when I was in the hospital, the other couple that we were sharing our hospital room with were talking to the lactation consultant there, and they were told that they had to get a friend to buy them a breast pump immediately because she had really flat nipples and was unable to get a good latch and really wanted to get that milk production stimulated. So even if you do plan to exclusively breastfeed and you're having no struggles at all, you might want to have a breast pump at home to help to boost that supply so you can get going a little bit faster so you can get to exclusive breastfeeding. So I prefer the double electric version, not the archaic manual version, because one time I had to use the manual and I wanted to die because it's just, my hand was like cramping by the end just trying to get enough milk out of each breast. I actually have a second breast pump because my kid is fed about 80% pumped breast milk and the rest breastfed. As a working mom, that's kind of really important to me. So just in case anything goes wrong or my pump goes down, I have a backup. So guys, I hope you are enjoying this new series here. If you love this video, be sure to give it the thumbs up. Leave me a comment below with some of your absolute essentials, worth the splurge products or services for new moms postpartum. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time on Abby's Kitchen. Bye!